Johnny Depp is one of the most versatile actors of his generation. His choice of characters that are misfits in society has earned him a label of an actor who can only portray such quirky characters. But in reality, it's actually the opposite. Throughout his career, he has played characters that range from being eccentric and over the top to the ones who are very understated and subtle. Be it a drama, musical, western, comedy, or even a horror film, Depp always delivers. Not only does he play the character with the utmost passion, he also makes it his own, that it becomes almost impossible to recognize the actor on screen. Although it is really difficult to pick out just 10 performances from his varied filmography, here are our picks for Johnny Depp's top 10 performances.
Get in.
Number 10. J.M. Barrie, Finding Neverland. Finding Neverland is a heartwarming tale of Sir J.M. Barrie, who penned the famous play Peter Pan. The film is more about his inspiration for the play than the play itself. As Barrie, Johnny Depp befriends a widow and her 4 young sons and forms a deep bond with them. His performance makes Barrie not only believable, but also acceptable. He plays the character with such innocence and charm that we can never question his intentions for the widow or her family. He idealizes her. He obsesses about her boys. And when he talks about his own unhappy childhood, we get a glimpse of his motivation for a genuine connection. He means well, and it is beautifully reflected on screen. His relationship with the boys and the dialogues in the last scene of the film will surely tear you up.
She went to Neverland. And you can visit her anytime you like.
Number 9. William Blake, Dead Man. Directed by Jim Jarmusch, Dead Man is an interesting film. It constantly subverts the tropes of a western through its meditative and philosophical take on what it means to be free from worldly inhibitions. Opting for a slower pace and heavily relying on the constant fades, Dead Man required a measured and internalized performance from its lead. Johnny Depp as the tight-lipped and shy accountant William Blake does exactly that. He rarely speaks in the film and is just observing what's going on around him. He phenomenally portrays the insecurities of a man who is scared of the world he resides in. His slow transition from being shy and quiet to someone who has accepted himself and is full of confidence shows his range as an actor.
You William Blake?
Yes, I am. Do you know my poetry?
Accompanied with a Native American man named Nobody, Depp's Blake learns what it means to be truly alive. As Blake plunges further into the unfamiliar wilderness, he gradually becomes part of the world he once feared, leading to his gradual acceptance in the inevitability of death. Number 8. Raoul Duke, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is a curious film that is almost plotless and moves in an autopilot mode, providing the viewers a psychedelic trip across Vegas. Based on the book with the same name by Hunter S. Thompson, the film sees Johnny Depp's Raoul Duke, a surrogate name for Thompson himself, travel to Vegas along with his lawyer for work. But things take a different turn as they start exploring the city under the influence of psychoactive substances. Depp is in phenomenal form with the cigarette stuck to his mouth almost all the time, mumbling most of his dialogues, which adds to the absurdity of the character.
There he goes. One of God's own prototypes. A high-powered mutant of some kind never even considered for mass production. Too weird to live, and too rare to die.
According to the writer Hunter S. Thompson, no one else could have portrayed the character but Johnny Depp. Despite the lack of a story, Depp shows strong commitment to the role. He embraces the eccentricity and lunacy of the character and never appears to be in a state of normalcy throughout the film. This performance truly pushes the boundaries and sees Depp dive into the distorted and maniac world with a limitless energy and a great deal of dark humor.
I need this, right?
Number 7. Sam, Benny and June. Johnny Depp's physical comedy is not unknown to anyone, but this film was an early indication to what a star he will be. In Benny and June, Depp plays the role of Sam, an oddball who lives in his own world. He is a huge cinephile who tries his best to impersonate the acts of famous silent stars Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin. And just like Edward Scissorhands, he was able to build an essentially wordless performance out of expressions and gestures. Without ever explaining himself, he simply behaves in the real world just the way Keaton and Chaplin behaved in their movie worlds. His irresistible personality charms all, especially June, whose mental illness doesn't allow her to form her own relationships. But Sam's perspective on life is not conventionally normal either, so he overlooks her flaws and sees her as a normal human being. He plays Sam with such innocence and charm that we can't help but complain about his limited screen time in the film.
Mine. He is mine. And if I can't have him, no one can. Not even you. You didn't have to buy that same dress. But you were my sister, Cindy.
Number 6. Benjamin Barker, Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. Tim Burton and Johnny Depp are a combination that comes together to create magic on screen. With Sweeney Todd, Tim Burton creates a Burton-esque London with elements of gothic horror and noir lighting. It is a unique musical in every regard, be it the use of lyrics to convey emotions or the throat-slashing and cannibalistic themes of the film. Johnny Depp isn't known for his singing, but here he gives everything to the role.
Pretty women are a wonder. Pretty women, what we do for pretty women.
He sings with pain and a sinister tone that conveys so much about the mental state of a person who has just one thing on his mind: vengeance.
Benjamin! Dog!
His transfixed gaze at times will leave the audience terrified, thinking about what must be going on in his mind. Sweeney Todd presents a ruthless, desperate, and a revengeful Johnny Depp that you don't often see on screen. Playing a character in a Sondheim musical isn't an easy task, but Johnny Depp does it with sheer brilliance and swagger on screen. Number 5. Joseph D. Pistone, Donnie Brasco. Sharing screen space with an actor as great as Al Pacino can easily overshadow anyone, but Johnny Depp stands out. Depp plays the role of Joe Pistone, an FBI agent who cannot walk the straight and narrow after infiltrating a mafia circle. Known as Donnie Brasco in the mafia, the deeper into the mob he goes, the further he is driven away from his own family. Although he keeps collecting evidence, the work takes a lot more than what he can bear.
This job is eating me alive. I can't breathe anymore.
This role was very different from the eccentric and quirky roles Depp had perfected, yet he delivers effortlessly. He brilliantly portrays the helplessness and frustration of a man who cannot distinguish between Joe Pistone and Donnie Brasco anymore. The complexities and raw emotion Depp portrays with this character are proof enough to show how versatile an actor he is.
What's forget about it? What is that?
Forget about it. It's like, if you agree with someone, you know, like Raquel Welch's one great piece of ass, forget about it. But then, if you disagree, like a Lincoln is better than a Cadillac, forget about it, you know? But then, it's also like if something is the greatest thing in the world, like Mingiro's peppers, forget about it, you know? But it's also like saying go to hell, too. Like, you know, like, hey, Paulie, you got a 1-inch pecker, and Paulie says, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Number 4. Gilbert Grape. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? What's Eating Gilbert Grape is a coming-of-age drama that follows the life of Gilbert Grape, who takes care of his intellectually challenged younger brother played by Leonardo DiCaprio. In this film, we see a tender side of Depp, who loves his brother dearly and has to protect him from the outside world. Gilbert shows patience and protectiveness towards his dysfunctional family and particularly towards his brother. But when he meets the free-spirited Becky, his outlook on life changes forever.
What do you want for you? Just for you.
I want to be a good person.
Depp is able to express Gilbert's inner emotional turmoil as he has to make endless sacrifices for the sake of his family. The film has one of the most subtle and internalized performances of Johnny Depp in contrast to the more pronounced performance of Leonardo DiCaprio. Yet Depp is the one who carries the film on his shoulders through a beautifully soulful performance. Number 3. Edward D. Wood Jr., Edward. Tim Burton's Edward focused on Edward D. Wood Jr., who has the unfortunate legacy of being the first director of all time.
Mr. Wood, do you know anything about the art of film production?
Well, I like to think so.
To play a person who is charming, clueless, and equally peculiar, Burton needed someone who could be everything at once. And who better to do it than Johnny Depp?
Hey! Cops! We don't have a permit. Run!
Depp portrays the passion and idealism of Edward in a manner that one cannot help but just root for the character to succeed at whatever he does, even though we know that doesn't happen. His love for filmmaking transcends the fact that he does not have the talent to make films in any way.
Visions are worth fighting for. Why spend your life making someone else's dreams?
But apart from being a bad and clueless director, he is a man with a heart of gold, and that is evident through the relationship he shares with Bela Lugosi in the twilight of his career. Depp's commitment to the role played a big part in the success of the film and the love it has been getting over the years. Number 2. Edward. Edward Scissorhands. In his first and one of the best collaborations with Tim Burton, Depp gave one of his all-time best performances as the soft-hearted and tortured soul Edward Scissorhands. Despite being so early in his career, Depp emotes beautifully through his expressions and gestures. He is almost unrecognizable under tons of makeup, yet his talent shines through. Edward is a near-complete person whose creator died before he could finish his hands and is instead left with scissor hands. Since then, he has lived alone until a kind woman, Peg, rescues him from his cold and gothic world and brings him to a bright neighborhood which seems very friendly at first, but is full of people with darkness in their hearts. There is a childlike innocence on his face which wins many hearts, yet he is treated as an outsider when problems arise. Despite the story's fantastical elements, Depp makes Edward a likable and relatable protagonist who was just trying to be accepted.
You look fine, just fine.
Number 1. Jack Sparrow, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
It won't be wrong to say that Johnny Depp was born to play the role of Captain Jack Sparrow. He is what has made the franchise such a big hit. Not only did Depp earn his first Oscar nomination for the role in 2003, but the sheer range of the character played over 5 films is too comprehensive to omit from the top spot. Based on a ride at Disneyland, the amount of work Depp has put into the character of Captain Jack Sparrow is astonishing. Sparrow's compelling character development allows us to see a selfish criminal transformed into someone who shows empathy and loyalty when the time demands. No one knows whose side he is on, yet we root for him through thick and thin. He is ruthless and, most importantly, extremely hilarious.
Look what I got. I got a jar of dirt. I got a jar of dirt. And guess what's inside it?
His physical comedy, witty dialogues, funny expressions, and impeccable comic timing is what makes Captain Jack Sparrow a fan favorite.
You know that feeling you get sometimes when you're standing in a high place? Sudden urge to jump? I don't have it.
So these were our picks for the top 10 best performances of Johnny Depp. His ability to portray such a wide range of unconventional characters with such nuance makes him one of the best actors of all time. Do you agree with this list? Let us know your picks in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to Cinema Explorer for more exciting content.